In this video, I'm going to show you the exact strategy to increase your customer lifetime value. Now, most brands think increasing their Klaviyo attributed revenue is increasing their customer lifetime value, but that's not true. There's no relation between these. Now, we know this because we've helped an industrial liquid brand double their repeat purchase rate. We've also helped a toy company steadily increase their repeat purchase rate. And we've helped a pet supplements company triple their customer lifetime value. And the strategies that we use to help them achieve this were different to just optimizing for Klaviyo revenue. Now, the reason this matters is because the single greatest measure of a brand's profitability is the LTV to CAC ratio. So that's lifetime value, which is the total margin that you earn over the life of the customer, divided by the cost of acquiring that customer. Now, let's say you have an LTV to CAC ratio of 5 and you spend $10,000 acquiring customers. That means at the end of their lifetime of those customers, you're going to have $50,000 of profit. So you could keep scaling your ad spend and keep acquiring customers because that's a good business. If your LTV to CAC ratio is not good, that's going to be a problem and you're less profitable. Now, the LTV to CAC ratio is important because your CAC is always rising. And the only way to survive a rising CAC is to increase your lifetime value. If you do this effectively, not only are you more resistant to rising ad costs, but you're also more resistant to rising shipping costs or rising operational costs, rising tariff costs, and all other costs. A higher lifetime value means you have more profit in your business, which makes you more resistant as a business overall. Okay, so there's two ways. There's two ways to increase lifetime value. Number one, increase revenue per order. Or number two, increase your repeat purchase rate. Now, to increase your revenue per order, that's basically increasing your average order value, which is mostly website-based optimizations. This is stuff like in-cart upsells, pushing bundles on your website, having a post-purchase landing page immediately after people buy, where you upsell or cross-sell them different products at an immediate discount. These are all very important things that you need to be doing. However, the net impact on LTV is a 10 to 20% impact. The real gains in lifetime value to help you double or triple your LTV comes from getting repeat purchases. And to understand just why this is so important, you need to look at your unit economics. So let's say the order here is $60. We have to pay sales tax on this. Let's say in this example, the business burdens the cost of the sales tax. We also have a COGS, which is 20% normal COGS, $12. Customer acquisition cost or ad spend is $20. This is seen as a pretty good customer acquisition cost. If you can acquire customers at $20, you're doing pretty well. Shipping, you got to ship the product out, and there's also fixed operational costs like salaries, warehousing, etc. Now, the profit on that first order is $6, which is a 10% profit margin. Now, if we look at the unit economics for a return purchaser, what we notice from the data is when customers come back for a second or third purchase from a brand, they already trust them, and the data shows that their carts are significantly bigger, 30 to 40% bigger on the second or third order than it is for the first order. So what we notice is that the cart size increases, which inevitably also means that the COGS and tax that we pay increases. However, there's no customer acquisition cost anymore, right? So we get a full $20 of margin back on this order. Now, shipping might also increase as well, but your fixed costs will probably stay the same. And this means that you have a 48% profit margin on this customer's second order with your brand. What that means is all of your profit comes from a repeat purchaser. You don't make any money on the acquisition. You make most of your profit on the back end, on the upsells, on the return customers. So what that means is that if you increase return purchases, you increase your profit. So how do we increase repeat purchases? There's two conditions that you must fulfill before you even think about how to do it. And that's number one, you must have products to sell them. And number two, they must enjoy their experience with your product. Now, number two seems a little bit obvious. You obviously have to have a good product for people to come back to buy it. However, I'm going to show you a way on how you can increase a customer's experience with your product without changing anything about the product itself. So, first off, you must have products to sell them. This is really important because we have a client, for example, that sells ice baths. For the regular person, once you buy an ice bath, the likelihood that you come back to buy a second ice bath is like close to zero. We can send the best email campaigns in the world. We can make the best email flows in the world. But nothing we do is going to increase lifetime value because customers just aren't going to buy two. Those campaigns and flows will generate revenue, but that's reducing their customer acquisition costs. It's not increasing lifetime value, which is two separate things, not the focus of this video. If we want to do anything to increase the lifetime value for this ice bath brand, they must introduce new products, whether it's a red light therapy product, whether it's a cooling mattress topper. People that are into ice baths are generally into their health, and they might find red light therapy products very interesting. If you jump into an ice bath right before you go to bed, your core temperature goes up. It's very hot and it's hard for you to fall asleep. So a cooling mattress topper might be something that we could sell. If they have these products, then the work we do will increase lifetime value But if they don't, it's going to have no impact. So for number 2, like I said, obviously you need a good product. No marketing in the world is going to help you sell more of a product which isn't good at all. However, if you have a good product, you can improve people's perception of your product with an amazing post-purchase flow. Now, how does this work? It's because whenever someone buys something online, there's a small voice in their head that's thinking, am I actually going to get this product? Is it good? Did I actually use my money wisely here, or was this a waste? This is very classic buyer's remorse, and your job is to put a stop to all of this noise in people's heads, and you can do this with a post-purchase flow. I have a full video that you can watch on how to make a post-purchase flow that you can watch after this, but to summarize, you need to have clear delivery timelines, you need to have clear usage instructions, and you need to answer every possible issue that they can have when using your product. The goal of this flow is to validate their decision to purchase and educate them on the benefits of it before the product arrives. You can upsell immediately post-purchase, but generally it works better after you've done the education piece and help a customer really have a good experience with your brand. Most brands I audit have a terrible post-purchase experience. Don't let that be you. So we have those 2 conditions. Let's get into the actionable strategies to actually increase return customer rate. Number 1, measure and optimize for repeat customer revenue. Now, a lot of brands don't increase their LTV because they're optimizing to increase their Klaviyo revenue, which is not your repeat customer revenue. So baseline is that you need to measure your repeat customer revenue, and you need to tailor your strategy so it increases that rather than your Klaviyo revenue. If you can effectively measure your repeat customer revenue and you can drive incremental improvement to that, you will increase your lifetime value. Now, it's not obvious, but you can actually separate new and returning customer revenue inside of Klaviyo itself. Inside of your segments, you can create segments that separate customers from prospects. That's people that have purchased 1 or more times to people that haven't purchased from you. And in your flows, you can split your new versus returning customers. So I'm going to show you how to set that up in Klaviyo right now. Now I'm inside Klaviyo looking at the results of a campaign that we sent for a customer which seemed to get $28,000 worth of sales. Now, the thing to note is that this did not make $28,000 of repeat customer revenue. This is total revenue of new and returning customers. To increase lifetime value, we have to exclusively look at repeat customer revenue to optimize for that. And we can do that by going to the audience breakdown tab and looking at the split of customers and prospects. Now, instead of sending it out to an engaged 30-day group, we send it to a 0 to 10-day engagement group, as well as an 11 to 30-day engagement group. And this granularity just gives us a little bit more insight into who's actually purchasing from our campaigns. So this campaign, which made $28,000, we can see that $20,000 worth of sales came from people that engaged from us in the last 10 days and have purchased from us before. Now, to find the repeat customer revenue of this email, we just need to add up the customer segments, which is $21,000 plus $1,500, which gives us about $22,500 of return customer revenue, and the remaining is new customer revenue. For you to have access to this data, you have to set your segments up in this way before you send a campaign. You can't pull it afterwards. So the way you do it is you go to Listen Segments inside Klaviyo, you go to Create Segment, and for whatever segment that you normally have, you just want to add a condition that it's for customers, and then you want to duplicate it and create a condition that it's for people that haven't purchased from you. So let me show you an example. Let's say we want an engaged 90-day audience, and we generally set that up by setting the condition that we can email them, and we find people that have clicked an email in the last 90 days or opened an email in the last 90 days or added to cart or even started checkout in the last 90 days. This is our engaged 90 days segment. What we want to do now is create a customer engaged 90 days segment. And we can do that by going to add condition and have it as what someone has done, placed order at least once over all time. We want to create that as a segment. And then while that creates, we want to clone that and make this 0. And this will be our prospects. Now, what this does, if you do this correctly, is you create an engaged 90-day customers audience and an engaged 90-day prospects audience. And sending to these 2 campaigns is functionally the same as sending to an engaged 90-day audience. However, it splits new and returning customer revenue. This way, when you look at the data, you can see new customer revenue and repeat customer revenue. Now you can also do this in your flows very easily by just setting up a conditional split at the top of the flow for new versus returning customers. You do that by clicking this plus over here, go into logic, conditional split, and then clicking what someone has or has not done. Click placed order at least once over all time, and then click save. And then you just copy this flow to this side. And what this is going to show you is that for the left side of this flow, this is going to be your return customer revenue. And for the right side of this flow, this is going to be your new customer revenue. Now, obviously, it's very annoying to click into every single campaign you send and every single flow to find new customer revenue and repeat customer revenue. So there is an easier way to do this with external tools. Like Triple Whale or Profit Peak. Now, what you can do using Triple Whale is generate a daily revenue export, which breaks down your repeat customer revenue as well as your total revenue. And you can optimize your strategies based on increasing repeat customer revenue. And what you can also do is generate a spreadsheet of all the campaigns that you've sent through Klaviyo, and you can overlay your Triple Whale data with your Klaviyo data so that you can find what campaigns actually led to incremental improvement in your return customer rate. So for example, we can see that there's a baseline of customers that generally just come back. People buy the product, they like it, and they come back. And our goal is to kind of try to see, what is the normal repeat customer revenue on a day-to-day basis. So we find 3 days, for example, here where it is $300 to $400. And this day, where we sent a campaign, we can see that although on Klaviyo, this campaign made $425, repeat customer sales was actually lower on that day. Now, we might look at this and think, hey, this is a campaign that made money, we should do more of it, but we can see that it didn't actually help performance on that day. This next campaign, Ingredient Spotlight, did pretty well on Klaviyo, and it looks like it helped our repeat customer revenue increase above baseline. Now, this plain text email that we sent, it looks like it increased return customer revenue on that day and the day after before it went back to baseline. Now, doing the analysis in this way also just reinforces that Klaviyo attributed revenue is not repeat customer revenue, and our strategies have to optimize for repeat customer revenue above all else. So if we want to increase repeat customer revenue, we need to use this as our source of truth and try strategies that incrementally improve the numbers here rather than what we see in Klaviyo. That's how we increase lifetime value. So now that you actually know how to find repeat customer revenue, what can you actually do to increase it? Well, there's 3 things. What you say in your campaigns, when you say it, and who you say it to. Now, in terms of what you say, you want to start off by really understanding the customer journey. You can do this with the help of an app like Lifetimely or RetentionX or Profit Peak. Triple Whale, I also believe, has this functionality. But basically, it lays out your entire product range and it shows you where customers come in and then what's their next most likely product, or what are other products that they might buy on their second or third purchase. This is important because our strategy is finding what customers are already most likely to purchase next and then pushing that to everyone that buys the first item. So for example, if we go back to the ice bath example, we find that people that buy ice baths tend to prefer buying sleep pods. That's the next most likely purchase that they make. So what we do is we push sleep pods to everyone that buys an ice bath. Now, sometimes we'll work with founders that, for example, if they sell their ice bath, they're like, hey, we also have this red light therapy product that we want to push onto our ice bath customers. But that's the wrong way to do it. We want to find what customers are already buying. We want to push that to customers that buy an ice bath rather than what we want to push to them. And if customers are already buying the sleep pod, for example, that means that that's the most complementary item to what they already purchased. You don't want to waste your time pushing products that customers don't want. The second thing to note in terms of what to say is that you don't have to give a discount. People think sending campaigns to get one-time buyers to come back is pushing a discount or giving them a deal. That's not true at all. Just educating customers of complementary products that are going to help improve their experience is enough to get conversions. Now, of course, discounts help, but we don't want to give a discount to someone that might have purchased anyway without a discount. So we generally want to try without the discount first. And if that doesn't work, then we can try for the discount. Now, the second thing that matters in getting people back is the timing in which you send it. And the way you understand the perfect timing is by setting up your segments like this inside of Klaviyo. Now, for example, let's say we're sending a campaign to people that purchase an ice bath and we want to understand when's the best time to reach out to them to get them to buy a secondary item. How we can do that is create a segment inside of Klaviyo of everyone that's purchased an ice bath. We want to set up these additional conditions to that segment of people that have purchased an ice bath in the last 10 days or people that have purchased an ice bath in the last 10 to 20 days, or between 20 to 30 days ago, or 30 to 40 days ago, 40 to 50 days ago, etc. We just want to have it as granular as possible. And we want to send campaigns like this because then we can go into the audience breakdown tab and see when are most people likely to purchase. And we can also see when people are most likely to drop off. So if we send multiple campaigns to people who purchase an ice bath and we aggregate the data across multiple campaigns, we will have data like this. We can see, for example, people 0 to 10 days ago made, let's say, for example, $10 worth of sales, where this segment made $20 worth of sales, this segment made $30 worth of sales. But for people that purchased 30 to 40 days ago, that made $300 worth of sales. And for 40 to 50 days ago, this made about $50 worth of sales. And then here, it started to drop off a bit. Now, this data is really important because it helps us understand the timing of when people are most likely to come back to buy. And we can use this data to set up our replenishment and win-back flows. So most people from this data, you can see buy between day 30 and day 50. This is when most of the sales happen. So we want to set our replenishment flow 2 days to a week before that window begins, so that when customers are most likely to come back to make a repurchase, they get the right messaging. So we trigger the win-back flow at day 61, for example, because we determine at this point after day 61, that customer is basically churned. The chance of them coming back is close to 0, so we may as well use a discount to try to win them back because that's a churned customer. The goal of discounts is to win back customers who have 0 chance of coming back. Now, it's very dangerous to give discounts before this point to give customers an incentive to come back because a lot of these customers might come back anyway, even if they didn't have a discount. Now, bonus points, if you really don't want to give a discount, you can actually integrate this with your loyalty program. So rather than giving X dollars off or X% off, you can just say, hey, like you've racked up this many points, use this before you miss out on it. That's one of the things loyalty programs are really good for. It's adding a switching cost, and you can integrate your loyalty program with your win-back flows so you're not giving discounts to people that have points that they can spend. But the third thing that's important when sending campaigns is who you actually send it to. So in terms of what you say and when you send it, you want to test these things independently for your one-time customers as well as your VIPs, because what works to turn one-time customers into VIPs is different to get VIPs to convert further. The timing is different and the messaging is going to be slightly different as well. So that's just something to be aware of in terms of their behaviors being different. So the next thing is, how do you increase the repeat customer revenue from your email flows? So first step, like I showed you, is setting up your flows so it splits your new customers revenue to your return customer revenue. And then once you establish a baseline for your repeat customer revenue on your flow, it's running A/B tests to incrementally improve that performance. So let's say, for example, you have an abandoned cart flow that has a 4% placed order rate and you run some A/B tests and you increase it to a 5% placed order rate. You have just unlocked incremental lifetime value growth. I'm gonna make a full video on A/B testing, but what moves the needle really is better personalization and recommendations, as well as better timing and general messaging. And that's how you increase your customer lifetime value. If you found that helpful, please leave a like and subscribe. I post videos every week. If you want us to do a full retention marketing audit of your account, you can click the link in the description to book in a call directly with me. If you actually have a subscription product, there's a lot more that you can do to increase lifetime value. So I posted a full video on how we increase the subscription lifetime value for a supplement brand. I did a full breakdown on it that you can watch next, and that helped them triple their subscriber lifetime value. So I'll see you on that one, or we'll chat on the call. Take care soon.